Hello and welcome back to the Sports Babble. A little bit earlier than usual, just with logistics and stuff, and the fact that I am at Anfield tomorrow night.
You can feel the excitement through the camera.
Yeah, which is Wednesday night, obviously, for the return of the Champions League at Anfield. And I can't wait. I can't wait for all European football to come on because I love the Europa League as well.
It's just wonderful to have football every night of the week.
It is. Every night of the week on TV or on the radio, it's amazing. And we're going to start talking now about what happened at the Etihad on Saturday, what happened at Goodison, what happened at the Emirates, Stoke. We're going to look at what happened at Crystal Palace.
As we predicted.
And then we're going to have little Champions League predictions and Europa League predictions, including who we think will win it, who will flop, and different things like that there. I suppose I can't really hide from the fact that I predicted a 2-0 win for Liverpool last week, didn't I?
I predicted a draw, but it was in hope rather than expectation.
Yeah.
Although I didn't expect Liverpool to lose by 5 goals.
No, me neither.
Obviously impacted by the send-off, you know.
Yeah, we'll get the send-off box off out of the way first. By the letter of the law, you can't argue with it, and it was a send-off.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was when I first seen it, and then you see a couple of incidents, which always seems to happen. There seems to be like a contentious incident that happens in a game, and you think, oh, why is this happening? You never see that happen, or such and such. You never see the referee doing that, and the next thing, the same incident will happen in another 2 or 3 games afterwards, and there's always a different outcome.
Exactly, there's no consistency with the officials.
That's the bit that pissed me off. There's no consistency.
I suppose the point that really upset me in terms of the sending off was the fact that Gary Neville had, I suppose, the tenacity to say that, "I'm sorry, John Moss, you've just ruined a spectacle there," is what he said in commentary. Now, let's not, I suppose, fool ourselves. The role of the referee is not to ensure there's a good football match for fans to watch. The role of the referee is to protect players, and obviously Ederson's safety was in danger by Sadio Mane's use of excessive force with the high boot, and John Moss had no other option but to order the player off, and it was 100% the correct decision. I don't see why there was any doubt about the decision, but of course for Liverpool fans it becomes frustrating when other players who similarly lead with a high boot are not sent off. Okay, I suppose the only point that I would say is the key thing of the rule is use excessive force, and the other players didn't connect with. So in the case of Meunier, who was tackled by Winston Reid, his head was lower into the tackle, whereas Ederson's head was at quite a standard height. Also, Matt Ritchie did have a high boot but made no contact with Alfie Mawson, so there's no use of excessive force, which is part of the law and the rules, and that's probably what, I suppose, made up John Moss's mind, and I suppose also didn't, that's why those other 2 players weren't sent off.
Do you think, because I do, and people might disagree with, do you think Ederson was a bit reckless as well? So say and this is all hypothetical, say Mane gets there half a second or whatever, a fraction earlier or a fraction later, he doesn't catch him in the head, he catches him about here. But say he wins the ball, for talk's sake, Ederson just completely wipes him out. What do you think would happen? What would you think would happen? Do you think Ederson would get sent off then, or do you think it would be...
Most likely, I suppose it would be... It depends on the touch, how far it goes wide from the goal, but he's the last man, and you'd assume that it would be a red card.
I think it's good goalkeeping to a point. I think a goalkeeper coming out and being brave, but I think there is a point. I still think he was reckless as well. Mane's foot, and it is horrific, goes into his face and whatever, and he is sent off by the letter of the law, yes. But I still think Ederson was reckless as well, because he just come flying out like a lunatic, heads down, and he's just charging. Do you know what I mean?
I suppose in a big match, Ederson probably wanted to impress. He says, "I'm going to get to this ball before Sadio Mane," and didn't realise how fast Mane was, perhaps. But I suppose hypothetically, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, if it was different, then there would have been a different outcome, and we wouldn't be talking here about Sadio Mane's red card. But otherwise, in terms of Liverpool performance, what do you think? I know that obviously had a big burn on the match. You know,
our last shot on goal was the 37th minute
before Mane was sent off.
I think Mane had, maybe it was 31st minute,
right.
But it was in the 30s. So our last shot on goal at the Etihad, which under a Klopp Liverpool team you don't expect, because they've had so many shots. Not only have they conceded a lot of shots, but they've taken a lot of shots as well. I think they're one of the highest. I think the highest in the league last year, shots on target. But performance, I thought up until even the first goal, I thought Liverpool were the better side. Just I don't think both teams were playing amazing.
And I thought actually Salah was playing extremely well.
Salah and Mane were playing very well. I just wrote. I've got my notes down. I just wrote sort of. The lineup annoyed me. I started off with Liverpool as a Liverpool fan. I didn't want to see Trent Alexander-Arnold play at fullback against Man City. I had a funny feeling they would try and isolate him and get him. He'd no protection either. I felt very sorry for him. That midfield was horrific for Liverpool on Saturday.
Probably one of Gini Wijnaldum's worst games.
Yeah, all three of them weren't great. The first goal, and I will let Jake speak in a minute. The first goal had about 4 or 5 errors. The ball comes out from Mignolet, which is grand. It's flicked back forward by a Man City player, and it's still in the air, and Henderson just heads it straight up. So that's not a great header, but you would sort of think that with a bit of 3 in the midfield, there'd be somebody around him to come and get it. Gini Wijnaldum gets flicked off the ball far too easily. It's like something you'd see in an under 14 game, an under 16 against under 14. But it's Fernandinho that flicks him off the ball. Gini's physically bigger than him, flicks him off the ball. The ball falls to Kevin De Bruyne, and literally the 2 centre backs are on different postcodes.
That's right.
It's shocking. There's no communication at all between the two of them, and the ball slips. It's a wonderful pass.
Yeah, a wonderful pass. But when you leave gaps open like that, then those passes can be made a whole lot easier.
Exactly.
What I would ask Jurgen Klopp would be, why did Lovren not start with Matip, given that those 2 players are more comfortable with one another? I'm not saying that they're expert defenders, and you definitely wouldn't score against Liverpool if they both were playing, but surely Matip and Lovren would be a more steady partnership as opposed to bringing in Klavan for such a big game.
Yeah.
Unless this is all part of his rotation scheme, is it?
That rotation scheme is going to put years in me. The word from Liverpool was that he was rested because the sports science team told Klopp that he picked up a bit of a niggle or something, or he was maybe a bit, something was just from injury or from international duty, and he wasn't 100%. You're playing Man City. Liverpool should be looking at trying to win a league title. So should Arsenal. Those teams, the calibre of those teams, that's what they should be doing. You're playing Man City, which is a massive game, and if your centre half has a tiny bit of a niggle, you can't play. I don't agree with that.
I don't agree with that. I think you start your best team.
Yeah.
And a tiny niggle, you can take a chance on it. And at the end of the day, what's the worst can happen? You're going to lose maybe a substitute within the first 10 minutes, and you're going to be left with only 2 substitutes to use for the rest of the game. But I just think they should have taken a gamble on Lovren.
Yeah, I think Lovren and Gomez both should have started.
Gomez
was very good against Arsenal.
That's right. That's right. He's very strong.
Sanchez, he's very, very strong.
But also, what was I going to say there in terms of the bringing off Salah after the red card? Would you agree with that, and bringing on Oxlade-Chamberlain?
Salah hasn't trained today, and it doesn't look like he's playing tomorrow night.
So there was an injury.
So there could have been an injury.
Right.
Klopp didn't say there was an injury, and his press conference is happening right now, but we're watching BT Goal Show. Thanks, we're plugging BT, so you can sponsor us in the background here for the Champions League. But yeah, to me at the time it stunk of putting the white flag up, and then I thought maybe we're going to settle for 2-0 here, and I would have been alright, 2-0 away from home down to 10 men, that'll do us. But they just completely gave up. They completely caved in. And
that's one point that I'd have to say about Jordan Henderson. I suppose his ability as a top midfielder, if you want to put him in that category, was really brought into, I suppose, question. I thought he was absolutely diabolical when I suppose you need your captain to really lift you and drive you from the base of midfield. Mm-hmm. And I thought he took the easy option on a number of occasions.
I'm a huge Henderson fan. I do really like him, but I think Chan maybe more actually showed a bit of, like, he actually cared a little bit more.
That's right.
Wijnaldum, non-existent. Firmino, not a great game. Oxlade-Chamberlain did alright when he came on. There was nothing he could really do.
Yeah. What do you think though of when you're in that sort of position? The likes of Firmino, I suppose, as your centre forward, is going to struggle because your team's already down to 10 men, and you're not going to have as much possession to make use of those sort of neat little passing movements and around the edge of the box, which Firmino thrives on. Why not bring on the likes of Divock Origi or, I suppose... Solanke.
He's obviously in Wolfsburg on loan, but Solanke is, that's what I was going to say to you, and I'm glad you said it, because it means not only me thought it. Solanke would have been my substitution. You'd love it to be Daniel Sturridge, but you don't know how fit he is, or how he doesn't really seem to have the legs anymore. But I would have brought Solanke on and then dropped Firmino back. If Salah was injured, say, so you make that sub at half time instead of Oxlade-Chamberlain, and then bring Oxlade-Chamberlain on later on in the game. But Solanke would have been that one. You just drop into 2-4s, you say to your forward midfield, right, you're just going to stop and help the defence out. Someone, and I keep looking at the screen for these, someone go and help Trent Alexander-Arnold out. He's our youngest player, he's 18, and you're leaving him isolated against Kevin De Bruyne. And we haven't even talked about Man City here. Man City and Mendy. Mendy hadn't a clue where he was playing. He was just walking around the forward, just being like, "What am I doing here?" Yeah. But they did all right. They managed to win. But he gave no protection to Mendy either. And I just thought, yeah, I was disappointed in Klopp, to be honest. Disappointed with who he picked to start with, and I was disappointed with how he handled it at half time. I thought he made the wrong sub, but he's won 2 Bundesliga titles and I haven't. So
that's right. And I would also, I suppose, an interesting point there to pick up on was Thierry Henry's comments about Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain.
I actually didn't see these, and I haven't read them yet.
Yeah, Thierry Henry said that, you know, with all this, I suppose, talk about Jurgen Klopp being able to get the best out of Oxlade-Chamberlain, he says that in order to get the best out of a player, you need to know what they're not so good at and what they're good at, and no one seems to know what Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain is good at.
Well, they can't. He's only played 1 game for Liverpool, so we will see what happens.
His debut for Arsenal came in an 8-2 thrashing in Manchester United, and it didn't go so well on this trip to Manchester either.
It did not.
But look,
I thought, as good as City were, and Kevin De Bruyne was outstanding, especially when we were down to 10 men, they were just frightening. I did think that there were times when we had 11 that they looked that they could be easily got at. I know they went straight at the back, and we're going to talk about Spurs, who did go straight at the back and were very successful. They looked at the space. Mendy was all over the place. He hacked down Mane after about 15 minutes. He just took him.
Mendy is not a good defender. Okay.
No.
But whether or not a team is going to be in the position where they can really, I suppose, isolate or exploit his weakness at the back against Manchester City is another thing, because of they are so good in midfield and going forward. It's going to be very difficult for a team to have sustained, I suppose, possession against them and to exploit those weaknesses.
Definitely.
But it doesn't mean that it can't happen.
No.
Manchester City want to improve in the Champions League, and though in the Champions League games, those are the sort of weaknesses that are exploited.
Well, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. It's definitely between at the early stage of the season, the Premier League is between the 2 Manchester clubs.
And Spurs.
And Spurs.
Well, we'll talk about Spurs and
Chelsea. But not with the Wembley form. They still haven't done anything to, I suppose, overcome that.
That's Liverpool finished. For the Premier League, I'm going to the match on Wednesday night. We'll talk about that in a minute. The next game I want to talk about, and we sort of talked beforehand, we might do a little thing, we'll do like performance of the week and player of the week and stuff. We're not going to do it now because I've just sort of sprung that in Jake. But it's Spurs against Everton. A game I actually called.
Yeah, you called it perfectly well. You said that Spurs would win comfortably.
Yeah, and Poch sort of surprised everyone at Goodison Park. He went with 3 at the back. He went with Davinson Sanchez, who Jose Mourinho told us all how he exploited his weaknesses and such. I didn't really think he was that good. Obviously, good a defender.
Europa
League final, yeah. He went with Davinson Sanchez, he went with Alderweireld, and he went with Vertonghen. And then in midfield, they had a diamond. But not only did Everton not have a clue what was going on, people, when you're watching it, you're thinking, oh, I don't know what sort of witchcraft this is that Pochettino's done, but they just look so good. They always look like they look like they're playing with 12 men. They always look like an extra man free.
I remember Pochettino in his early days with Espanyol in the La Liga, and when he was brought in as Southampton's manager, I said this is definitely a manager to watch, and on many occasions he surprises the opposition with his astute tactics, and I suppose on Saturday that was no exception, because he did it once again. And Koeman, who himself, I suppose he would regard himself and others would regard him as a master tactician in a sense, future, I suppose, linked with Arsenal and Barcelona.
He's seen as the next big thing after Cruyff in Holland, which I wasn't aware of until I heard on a podcast, that he's seen as the next big. Oh, good goal bet for Chelsea there. I think it was Pedro smashed it in. So sorry to cut my own speaking or talk off there, but Chelsea going 1-0 up against Qarabag. He's seen as the next big thing to take over Dutch football after Cruyff's passing. That he is the next thing to come through, and we will unfortunately talk
big
about
expectations.
A Dutch manager who is not the next big thing. But we'll get that in a
Well,
minute.
if the big thing is judged by, I suppose, managing a team for less than 100 days, then,
Well, then there you are.
He will fit the bill at some stage in his career.
He's the world leader.
Yeah, world leader.
Spurs won 3-0. Harry Kane scored a goal that, he admitted afterwards was a fluke, but it was still nice to watch. Ericsson popped up with a second after Ben Davies, who this week was compared to Dennis Irwin, which is a nice comparison.
Yeah, very
See,
nice.
wasn't bad.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
I'd say so, because Dennis Irwin was not a bad footballer, lads. And then we had Harry Kane scored against after half time, which was a lovely, well worked goal. Everton all at sea.
Yeah, but we're not surprised. Harry Kane has left August, and all of a sudden he's finding the net once again.
80 goals in 105 games.
He is an astonishing striker, and a proven Premier League striker, even though he's had such a short Premier League career at this stage.
He's still only 24.
Yeah, the thing I can't understand is he was at Arsenal as a juvenile player, and they seem to think that he didn't make the cut. But his success is a meteoric rise. It's sort of come out of nowhere. I remember him on loan at Leicester, and he did very little. And then he got an opportunity at Spurs, and he has most certainly taken it.
During the week, Pochettino compared him to one of my favourite ever footballers, Gabriel Batistuta. They played for Fiorentina, Roma, Parma, and to name but a few. When he said that there, I read an article about it on Sunday, and then I immediately had to go and watch Batistuta goals. And last night, even I was watching Batistuta goals, and I watched Harry Kane's goals from last year and even the year before, and you can see what he means with that. They're both quite powerful. Like Batistuta has finished his career and he's one of the greats. Like
yes.
Harry Kane might do that. He's still very young, as we've said. But especially his goal against Arsenal. You know where I think he has the mask on, he turns and he whips it in the top corner.
Yeah, that's right. And Merseyside, he turns Merseyside inside out.
His goal last year at the White Hart Lane against Stoke, which is miles out, he just turns, spins and thumps it.
He's got great power.
Yeah. That goal reminded me of the goal Batistuta scored. Now, it didn't finish. Like Batistuta's finished underneath the crossbar, but top of the net in at Old Trafford for Fiorentina, whereas Harry Kane's finishes in the bottom corner. But it's sort of similar the way he spins and whacks it. I can see what he means by that, and it's an interesting comparison because Pochettino played with Batistuta and now he manages Harry Kane. So I'd say if Harry Kane's probably buzzing.
You wouldn't be surprised if Harry Kane has been watching some of Batistuta's goals.
No, he does. I can
That's
see
the
the
sort of
comparison.
attention to detail that I suppose Pochettino would go into.
I have a bit of a crush now on Harry Kane, I've realised the weekend.
Alright.
It might just be because he scored against Everton. Apologies, Everton fans, especially Paul and Kieran. But yeah, I'm a bit of a I know he's going to come back and haunt me in Anfield or Wembley now, but I think he's just brilliant.
No,
Sissoko played as well.
Sissoko's playing regularly now for Spurs, wherever that's come out of. But
know.
no one has ever doubted the athleticism, I suppose, of Sissoko. The question that we have about Sissoko is his mentality, and also, I suppose, his end product in terms of the pass when it's needed, in terms of the finish when it's needed. Not saying that he should be a prolific goal scorer, but he finds himself in some good positions and he doesn't always maximise those. So it's good to see that he's getting a game after the big money that was spent on him by Tottenham, and maybe he'll be a surprise package this season.
Well, we'll see. I think Spurs definitely showed on Saturday their credentials. They were so solid. That wall could stop small armies. That'll go straight to the back. Sanchez, Alderweireld, and it's interesting. All three of those played at Ajax. So it's interesting, and obviously Ajax were all very comfortable on the ball. Sanchez looked class.
Yeah, I was very impressed.
He looked at this he's looking at this Premier League going, this will be dead on. And Goodison Park's one of the toughest away grounds to go to. It is
very difficult. The problem is, I suppose, that immediately comes out of that is Everton. I know they've had a completely
one shot target in 2 games.
Desperate run of fixtures, but the 4 points out of 4 games,
yep,
which isn't bad,
no,
but not I suppose a point tally for a team wanting to challenge the top 6. And if, I suppose, they continue with that level of performance against Manchester United this weekend, there will be serious problems. However, Everton always have a habit of getting a result against Manchester United.
Well, they do like it. And Rooney
back, but this is just hope, I think.
Well, he managed to get through a weekend not picking up any points.
Yeah, penalty points, yeah, that's right.
So he's all right. Which one do you want to go with? Do you want to go with Arsenal? Do you want to
go with Arsenal?
Jake has donated a lovely classic Arsenal top for the wall, which I was buzzing about when he brought it in. So he's up his game there. I have a classic Liverpool top, I might have to fire up, but yes, we'll get on with your beloved Arsenal because they got back to winning ways.
Back to winning ways, but it wouldn't. I've always said on this show that Danny Welbeck's finishing would worry me. Anything else, I can't question it. He finished very well, although the first finish was a wee bit lucky off the shoulder and that on Saturday. But second goal was a good goal, well worked goal,
finish.
And a very good finish. And Lacazette's finish was absolutely superb. Superb finish. Goalkeeper didn't have a chance and it rifled into, it was near the top of the net. I wouldn't read too much into this result though.
You're not getting too carried away?
No, because they played. Bournemouth had a good chance to score. They hit the frame of the goal, and I would say that Arsenal's, I suppose, resurgence will be determined against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge on Sunday.
Are you confident?
I'm worried.
Oh dear, that's never a good situation to be when you're
I'm worried because I know that they have the ability to win, but if they go in and play like they did against Liverpool at Anfield, then it's going to be very difficult because Chelsea are coming back into good form.
Yeah. The reason why we keep getting distracted, by the way, down here is because with the goal show on and there's goals flying all over Europe. Chelsea have scored. Sporting are 2-0 up against Lyon. Who else? There was Bayern Munich who scored as well. I believe Robert Lewandowski, who's a bit of a fallout at Bayern Munich at the minute. He scored, so he's got a free kick coming up here as well. But yeah, Arsenal back to winning ways. You'd be worried if you're a Bournemouth fan, wouldn't you?
Very, very worried. 4 games, no goal. No, sorry, they have scored, no points.
No points.
It's worrying because is this a case of players becoming, I suppose, stagnant under the same manager? Is it time for a change at Bournemouth? Even though Eddie Howe has done so well, and Bournemouth is a club that runs itself rightly. It runs itself very well in terms of it keeps faith in the management, unlike Crystal Palace. But
we're going to get around to.
But where's the next result going to come from?
They need it soon.
They need it. I would say the next game they need to take a point or a win.
Yeah.
From.
And the worrying thing for me with Bournemouth was the fact that after playing so well against Man City, and they deserved something in that game, they didn't play well at all against Arsenal.
And Arsenal won 3-0, but Arsenal should have won by more goals. 3-0 at home does not flatter Arsenal.
3-0 at home in third gear.
Yeah.
Easily, they weren't contested.
No.
It was
a very
not taken away from Arsenal's goals.
No, but as I said, do not read into it too much.
Manchester United came to a bit of a halt.
Yes, and Choupo-Moting gets my vote
as player of the week.
As he finished his goals very, very well.
He looked quite strong. He left Phil Jones on his arse as well.
Traditionally a winger.
So I believe, yes.
Yeah, a leggy winger who last year...
3 goals he got last year in the whole Bundesliga season.
So he's almost matched that.
He's almost matched that.
4 games. It's good to see that Manchester United are vulnerable. And I was recently talking to a Manchester United fan who told me that Manchester United will never win a Premier League title with Phil Jones as a first choice centre half. Very interesting, coming from his own. I know Manchester United fans have a tendency to get carried away after dropping 2 points and they start maybe criticising people. And Phil Jones has borne the brunt of that. They also mentioned the performance of Matteo Darmian, who looks very uncomfortable in the Premier League still.
Yeah.
And he's had time now to settle in. So I would say Everton are, I suppose, reassured that there are holes in United's defence, but it's a different atmosphere at Old Trafford as opposed to the Britannia.
United's can thank David De Gea. Well, he had an unbelievable save, but unfortunately from the corner.
Yeah, that's right.
That it I think PSG just scored, no, it's disallowed, sorry, from the corner, and then they concede because Phil Jones falls over. And that would be 6-yard box is where David De Gea, that's where he doesn't go to, in my opinion, being the best goalkeeper in the world.
Why?
Because he's not commanding enough in the 6-yard box.
And he's never been.
And, pardon me, just burped in my own video, he's not as good with his feet as... That's why Neuer is better than him, in my opinion. And this is what we weren't even going to talk about this, but just seeing Neuer on TV, and then we're just talking about. I just want to make a point of David De Gea in a 6-yard box, just still.
Well, as I said before, Neuer is a fantastic shot stopper with the footballing ability of a rounded number 10.
Yeah,
you know.
And I'm harping back to Liverpool here, but if that's Mignolet that pulls off that amazing save by De Gea. But then the goal comes in from the corner and Mignolet doesn't come and claim it, there's absolute pelters. Not just from Liverpool fans, because we all give them pelters anyway. There's pelters from everyone, give them absolute dogs.
That's right.
De Gea gets a bit of a bye ball because he is possibly the best goalkeeper in the league. I think it's Hugo Lloris, although he has recently had a bit of he's done a bit stupid stuff since I've been claiming him as the best goalkeeper in the league. But yeah, that's right. I just think
I would say that that is a point definitely for David De Gea to improve, and maybe he won't need to improve it, because if he goes to the Real Madrid, which I think he will do eventually, then will he really need to be commanding a 6-yard box?
Well, not know. Who knows? Spanish league.
Keylor Navas is most certainly not. I suppose he's not a commander of the 6-yard box, and he's somehow their number 1 goalkeeper. So maybe he'll just fit right into the Madrid lineup.
Yeah, Watford as well. They won. Silva's doing some job.
Silva's doing an absolutely brilliant job, and I was absolutely dismayed with myself because I was so close to putting in Decore to my midfield on fantasy football. And of course, Chris Kamara pops up in Gillette Soccer Saturday and says Decore has just scored a belter.
And he had to.
And he had. Superb strike.
I had an interesting chat with a few friends, and we were talking about Silva, and I could see Silva only being in Watford for 1 year, because I could see if one of the top 6, maybe even never in top 7, has an horrific season, the likes of what Chelsea had a couple of years ago, where they finished just outside the top 10 or maybe in the top 10. Oh, they're nonsense, and they brought Conte in. I could see Silva being one of the ones that teams look at if he keeps going the way he's going with that team.
He keeps progressing.
I don't mean results wise. They're going to finish unbeaten and they're going to win the league by about February if he keeps doing that. But yeah, I mean, just like they keep. But they're such a good unit of a team. Like, it really
just shows you that when he has a time to work with, I suppose, a group of players, he would have kept, had he been brought in earlier, I suppose, for Mike Phelan, he would have kept Hull City up. I've no doubt about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the effect that he had towards the latter end of the season, and also, remember, it was well in the balance until the last 2 games of the season. So he was very close to keeping Hull City in the league, and he would have done so had he had more time. And I suppose it just shows you that young British managers really need to shape up.
Yeah.
But then again, young British managers aren't getting an opportunity to manage the top
teams in
their country.
It's massively swings around.
Marco Silva has had the opportunity to manage Sporting Lisbon, which is a top team in Portugal. Now, you name, I suppose, a top British manager, or a so-called top British manager that has an opportunity at such a big club recently.
Just Rodgers is one I can think of.
Yeah, Liverpool, that's it.
Moyes,
but
you wouldn't call him top.
Well, he was brought into Manchester United at a very difficult time, because Alex Ferguson had sort of left them as league winners, but also there were plenty of flaws in that squad.
No midfield. Paris Saint-Germain just scored, lads. It was, I believe it was Neymar. Yeah, it was. Number 10 flicked through, and lovely finish.
Superb finish past Greg Gordon.
Yeah, lovely finish. So, just before we finish off on our Premier League sort of review, because we're going to talk about De Boer next, Chris Wood scored again.
I said it. Chris Wood to score.
He loves Chris Wood, does on fella.
Chris Wood has, I think Harry Kane is the only man who has scored more goals than him in the English league in the last year.
Football.
Yeah, in the last year. I think that
he was helped by an unbelievable pass by the Crystal Palace player.
But
Lee.
I feel so sorry for him.
I
Lee
know.
Chung-yong.
He played really well.
Yeah.
Lee Chung-yong played really well, and then he
I
just.
feel sorry for him. You know, it was just an horrendous moment. And talking about a goalkeeper, no man's land, but you can't blame him in this instance. One touch finish. Chris Wood will score goals for Burnley.
And he's quick enough for a big unit. Like,
yeah, they've
he's
actually
basically a shed.
they've replaced Andre Gray very well. I think they brought in 18 million from Watford for him, and
Who is playing well at Watford?
who is doing well. But they've replaced him in a player that's going to get them goals.
Yeah,
which is what you have to do.
You definitely like.
Have Bournemouth invested their money as well as
No.
Burnley? No. Sean Dyche is doing
I
very
like
well
Sean
in the
Dyche,
transfer
and I
market.
really do hope that. I do like Burnley too, and I hope that he not only keeps Burnley up and does quite well with him, but then gets a job.
I would really like him to get an opportunity at
Yeah.
a team that isn't always going to be sort of challenging to avoid relegation.
No. And that's the point I want to talk about when we move on to our next section, which is about De Boer. If you haven't heard, De Boer was sacked.
Again, we sort of predicted this year, I suppose, an inside knowledge of Crystal Palace Football Club, and you thought that the inside knowledge that you had was that he might even go before the Burnley game.
Yeah, I'd heard a couple of Crystal Palace fans that do a podcast. They were talking that he was going to go before the game on Sunday. They sort of heard murmurs and stuff. Some things weren't right at the club. Supposedly, what's happened is that the players like Martin Kelly and Damien Delaney and players like that there have not really bought into De Boer's plans, and there's been a bit of a fraction and stuff at the club, and different things have gone on. Like the way he told them he was going to come in and play his football is different to what he actually started playing it with, and you can see similarities with Inter Milan too. I feel very sorry for De Boer. I think he should have been given a chance.
But the actual fact is, I know Burnley won and we thought they would win, but Crystal Palace were by far the better team. They had two clearances off the goal line pretty much from Dan. Dan also missed an absolute sitter with a header towards the end. You know, they could have won the game comfortably, and it flashed up into the crowd at one point to Steve Parish and Mark Bright, who's like has some sort of, I suppose, advisory role there. And I just thought to myself, Frank de Boer's finished at Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Even though a few hours later, Steve Parish comes out and says that we need to all stick together at this.
The whole thing's a farce. I have a theory in this. Only teams that get promoted should see their season a success if they stay in the league. Right? So if you're a team that was promoted last year or 2 years ago and this is your second full season in the Premier League, your aim should not just be to stay in the Premier League. That's a complete loser mentality, in my opinion. Your aim should be to, if you are, say, like Crystal Palace or whatever, your aim should be to go top 10 and it should be challenged for Europa League or something like that. Or you never know, Champions League. Why? Dream small, dream big. That could be the cliche.
Leicester.
Exactly, look what happened. Exactly, the perfect example. Look what happened to Leicester. So, I get that the Crystal Palace have panicked because it happens and there's no patience in football, so they've panicked. Manchester United just hit the post there, would you believe? They have obviously shot the bed, to use a vulgar term, and they've kicked the board after 77 days, which is a record. I think it's a record. It is a record, isn't it? I think it is.
I just think that there is a massive fear of failure in football,
especially in England.
And this fear of failure, fear of being relegated, outweighs any sort of positive signs within the team. I don't understand why they appointed Frank de Boer when the people at Crystal Palace knew the squad that had been assembled there by various other managers. How many managers have they had since they came into the Premier League?
They've had if Roy the Woolhead gets brought in. If Roy gets brought in, it'll be 10 in 5 years.
5 years, so 2 managers per year. That's absolutely crazy.
It's
bonkers. But as you said, Philip, what they should be striving for is success.
Yeah.
Fear of failure, when you're fear of relegation, then that becomes, I suppose, a handbrake to your future advances. And they should have backed the manager and give him another few games. However, some of you may be pointing out that I'm a bit of a hypocrite. I said if Hull City last year got rid of Mike Phelan earlier, Marco Silva would have taken him up. The difference here is that they thought long and hard about Frank de Boer as manager. They brought him in despite knowing the squad of players that had been or were available to him. And if you want to back a manager to bring success to your club, you back him despite what any player says.
Yeah.
You know, the manager is your key link between the board and the players, and you back your manager. When you start to, I suppose, dither on whether or not you back the manager, there are serious problems. And obviously that's what happened at Crystal Palace, and that's why players started to think, we're going to get rid of this man.
And the man they're bringing in is a complete moron. I have no time for Roy Hodgson. He was woeful at Liverpool. He had a stinking mentality at Liverpool, and he was bad at England. I remember a friend of mine who told me that he was too good to manage Liverpool, because this friend of mine who was a Manchester United fan that I work with, he also liked Fulham, and he bought a Fulham top when Fulham got to the Europa League final under Roy Hodgson, because he loved Roy Hodgson. And he told me that Hodgson was too good to manage Liverpool, and I had to hold myself back from like breaking in half laughing at him. And this stinks of complete horrible mentality at Crystal Palace. 4 games in, they got rid of their manager. Whatever, that's happened. Bang, you've got rid of Frank de Boer. So you're going to bring in a man to stop you getting relegated. You're only 10 points off top of the league. Okay, there might be a big fallout in the background with de Boer, and maybe things have gone that bad that they just can't work together. That's fine, that happens. You've cut ties, you've got a big payoff, whatever. And then you go and get Roy Hodgson.
Now, having said that, Roy Hodgson, before I point out a major flaw that I would have with Roy Hodgson, how it ties into this whole idea of teams being afraid of relegation and this fear of failure, is at Fulham he had a 39% win percentage, at West Brom he had a 37% win percentage, and if he wins those sort of games, so he's got 34 games left, and if they win say a roughly 39% of those games, then most likely will stay in the league.
He won 2 more games than he lost at Fulham, and he lost 1 more game when he won at West Brom.
Why? Because he draws so many games.
He draws, yeah,
and
exactly.
Again, that's a fear of losing, and that's obviously what Crystal Palace want.
And it's shocking. And I just, as a Crystal Palace fan, I would be just out of no hair, pulled it all out.
Well, almost 7 years ago to the day, on the 4th of October 2010, it was Blackpool had beaten Liverpool at Anfield 2-1.
What's your beef here anyways?
And
Chelsea scored a screamer by there, and the new man just
Sabo Costa, who almost scored on Saturday.
He just scored from 100 yards.
And anyhow, so what I was saying there, 4th of October 2010.
Yes.
Right?
Charlie Adams, Blackpool, yes.
And Luke Varney also, 2-1. They beat Anfield. Beat Liverpool at Anfield, right?
Yeah.
And what did Roy Hodgson say? Manager of Liverpool Football Club, he said that this team should not consider itself too good for relegation. Now, what sort of expectations does that set? What does that reveal to us about this experienced manager who's taken over a club that obviously want everything apart from relegation? He's definitely not working with his good players.
Anytime I hear that quote, my blood boils. I'm really sorry, Crystal Palace fans, because I know a few randomly, and they're the closest ones near to my auntie's house in London, and I'd like to go watch them someday. But I hope if you do get Roy Hodgson, you lose every game for the rest of the year. I'm very sorry, and if you're subscribers, keep subscribing, because we'll dramatise all up.
That's your bias. So that's your bias. He still hasn't forgiven him for what he did at Liverpool.
Or if they stay up and they get in the Europa League, do quite well. I hope we get a team from Iceland next year and they put them out of the Europa League, because that happened in the Euros with Iceland and
That's true, but then again, that would only happen if he lets Christian Benteke take the corners.
I'm looking forward to seeing that.
He usually does let the most likely player to score a goal take the corners to take him out of the danger area.
Yeah.
So those sort of, I suppose, absolutely revolutionary managerial tactics that Roy Hodgson has will come to the fore at Crystal Palace, and let's hope that for Steve Parish's sake that they're successful, because they've just got rid of a manager who's won 4 titles in Dutch football.
Yeah. One thing I will say is I'm having to be a little bit positive about Roy Hodgson, because you shouldn't be negative. You should always be positive. If Pat Egan teaches you one thing, it's always be positive. Hi Pat. that Roy Hodgson's actually from Croydon, which is sort of the area that Crystal Palace is. It's his, I suppose it's his boyhood club, so for him to go back, that's nice for him. But
look,
I'm still adamant I hope they lose every
how many
game.
times are we going to go through this story? I remember Alan Pardew coming to Crystal Palace, back to this marriage made in absolute heaven. First game for as manager of Crystal Palace was in the FA Cup. This is brilliant. Alan Pardew's returned. He's
Because he played in the team that put Liverpool out, and
exactly.
You know,
so he had such a good relationship with the football club and the fans. How did that end?
not very well.
Not very well.
No.
So, Crystal Palace fans, just hope for a few points in your next game.
Yeah, they have something like Arsenal. There's something like not Arsenal next, but there's something like it's maybe Man City or something next, and then they have like Arsenal and Chelsea or something.
Play
like that.
United as well at Old Trafford in a few weeks.
So and no, the place will happen next,
So
and then they have like 4 of the top 6. They could potentially, after 8 league games, only be in 3 points. That you'd panic then.
You'd panic then, but at the end of the day, there's still 90 points available.
Well, that's true, and
So
let's try it. That's
positivity.
right.
Positivity.
I just want to go. I want to talk about the best striker in world football in a minute.
Right.
Toche for Real Oviedo.
I had a funny feeling you might say that.
Thank you, Real Oviedo, on Saturday, because boy was I in foul form on Saturday afternoon. Despite listening to the radio and catching glimpses of Harry Kane and Spurs' performance and the brilliant Lacazette, who Jake knows I'm a massive fan of and was very disappointed when Liverpool didn't buy him. I got to sit down on Saturday evening and watch the Asturias derby. The first time they've had the derby in 14 years. So it's a massive moment for both clubs. Oviedo, what they've been through hell. They almost ceased to exist. And Sporting Gijon, who came down from La Liga, they played good game. First half, Sporting took the lead. I've just forgotten who was their goal scorer. Apologies. But Sporting took the lead, and were probably edged it in the first half as the better side. Second half, Oviedo came out and just looked like a completely different side. It was almost like Angulo. He got them. I don't know what he tweaked because it was hard to tell. I couldn't really tell what he tweaked, but he managed to. They were just playing they just had a bit more confidence. They were playing far more in Sporting's half. They were a bit more direct, more aggressive, and different things. Could have scored earlier on, and then 88th minute, and I was still a bit annoyed at what happened at Liverpool. And 80th minute, rebound breaks to the edge of the box, and Toche smashes it home, and I genuinely went wild. In the house here, genuinely went daft because I knew how much it meant. Obviously, it means a lot for me, like owning shares in the club, but I knew how much it meant for people that since I've owned the shares in the club and started tweeting and talking about it, Oviedo fans are brilliant to me and stuff, especially Jose. Hello, Jose, and he always retweets the show for us and stuff, and he gives me stuff to talk about and ideas, and he's very, very good. I know how much that meant to people, and it meant to the Oviedo fans that were in the stand. The blue corner looked massive, so yeah, it was brilliant to get the draw. 5 points from the first, 4 league games. Toche scored 3 and 4. 34 years old. He's going to guarantee them 15 at least goals this season.
If he stays fit.
If he stays fit.
Well, hopefully he does, for their sake and for the sake of them getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's their main goal. And they released as well this week a sponsorship deal with Hawaii, I don't know if I pronounced that right, the phone make.
Oh, very good.
A really good lucrative deal with them. It's going to be on their shirt. So more money coming into the club. They're under strict budget rules and stuff with what happened with the fact that they almost died, so to speak. So yeah, it's brilliant, and I was delighted that they got the result.
Fantastic. And who do they play next?
I have a funny feeling it's Cadiz.
Okay.
I might be wrong there. It's Jose and Real Oviedo fans will tweet me this, and I'll probably check afterwards to see that I am wrong, but a funny feeling it is Cadiz. Just on Toche, he's played 77 games for Oviedo and he scored 34 goals.
Not a bad turn.
Not bad at all.
Turnout for I suppose a striker the wrong side of 30, you would say.
Yeah.
Yeah. But an experienced
Hopefully
striker.
he can be the man that can fire them into La Liga this year, and we're going to go on and talk now about the Champions League. And just a little update, because obviously you can notice we're watching the screen here, which we've been called out with. Celtic are getting beat 2-0, Chelsea are winning 2-0, and Manchester United just scored, and their best player by a country mile, Marouane Fellaini, has just scored.
I suppose the sign of the decade and signed by the notorious David Moyes has delivered once again.
Yeah, we're going to get United fan on here sometimes because we're going to just think we're always biased and they're going to hate us, but it's actually a really good
Certainly
head goal.
not. I've tipped them for the title and it's an earnest and genuine tip.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I'd happily give £100 away if I didn't win the title. But yes, Fellaini scored a cracking header, so it's 1-0 to Manchester United. But we're going to come back and finish off with a little chat about the European competitions that have just started. We're going to do a bit of European football predictions, chat about what's going on in Europe this week, and then we're going to do a little Premier League predictions for the weekend. Champions League has started tonight, obviously, Tuesday night, and we've been talking about it throughout the show, which I'm sure you've noticed, and that's why we're kind of a bit distracted, so we might change that next time it's on, and maybe not have a big screen on to distract us. And if you're listening to us in the podcast, I hope that hasn't been too distracting in the fact we've been talking about watching the match. But anyway, I'll just sort of go with, is your team, do you think Real Madrid will win the third European Cup in a row this year?
I know that they're notorious for having slow starts in the league under Zinedine Zidane, and they, as the season progresses, they begin to improve and their football becomes more effective.
Yeah.
The goals are scored more easily. But I'd say there might be a change of the guard this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there are a number of big teams that may fancy their chances against Madrid. You know.
Do you think the likes of PSG have a penalty here? Do you think the likes of PSG, was that front three that if Cavani sticks this away, apologies, but if Cavani sticks this penalty away as we're talking, that's all three of them have scored again?
That's fantastic. But they played Metz at the weekend.
They did.
And Metz could have scored any amount of goals against them. And Metz are not a top quality league. I know they didn't.
Rivier's chance, and we didn't even know we were going to talk about this. Rivier's chance is, if you get a chance, YouTube, Rivier's chance, it is
gilt edge. Completely. You know, he should have scored it. And there were other opportunities, maybe not as clear cut as that one because that was pretty straightforward, you would think, for a goal score.
Yeah. But
I would say if Metz can carve out such opportunities, and I know PSG outscored them by far. Yeah. They went 5-1, was it?
5-1, yeah.
5-1.
Yeah.
I think that PSG's defence is their weakest part of the team, and it may be found out in the Champions League. However, I know they played so well against Barcelona when they played them at the in France and Paris, and then they struggled when they went to the new camp.
Kimpembe has looked quite good for them at centre half with Marquinhos.
Right, yes.
Dani Alves in, so they're going to attack from defence, and what do you call him? The Belgian other fullback.
Meunier, Thomas Meunier.
Yeah, very good. Like him too.
Very good attacking. Very good at assisting.
Yeah.
But what about when your back is against the wall? Because they're not going to have 100% of the possession.
So you think the French League might be their actual downfall then for PSG because they won't be challenged?
Well, I know Monaco were hammered by Nice. Mario Balotelli, after what he's at best there.
Did you know what happened Monaco against Nice last year in the same time of the year?
No.
Beat 4-0 at Nice.
And they still won the league.
So maybe the last time they lost away from home in the league.
And they were lost
last September. And they lost again in September.
So there's shoots of recovery. So I wouldn't say it's just completely straightforward for Paris Saint-Germain in the league. I'd expect them to have given the money that they've spent. If they don't, Unai Emery is gone.
Yeah. Champions
League's their main aim, and I think they might challenge, but I don't think they will.
Semi-final?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Fair enough. I'd agree with that.
Would you say any of the English teams will get to the semi?
Yep. You'd like, being biased, you'd think Liverpool will have a good chance in Europe this year. I think the best equipped team in Europe is probably Man City.
That's right.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs managed to get rid of the European hoodoo that they've had under Poch, and they come out of their group beating Dortmund. I don't think they'll win the group. I think Real Madrid should win the group, but I think Spurs could be a wee bit of surprise package. I don't think an English team will win it though.
The thing about Spurs, if they finish second in the group, then they could perhaps meet Paris Saint-Germain in the group stages.
In the knockouts.
In the knockouts, or in the
Yeah.
last 16. So something like that is unthinkable, I'd say.
It'd be a good game.
It'd be a good game.
Spurs can defend.
Spurs can defend. Paris Saint-Germain can't defend. Spurs can attack. But I just think Spurs will be a wee bit short.
Okay.
Even within that group.
Who do you think is best equipped then out of the top 5 in England? That are not the top 5, the 5 English teams.
5 English teams that are in the Champions League. Off the top of my head, I would say
See, we haven't
Chelsea.
mentioned we haven't mentioned Chelsea. Chelsea, that's interesting.
Chelsea.
Conte, I think personally, is the best manager in the Premier League.
Mm.
Tactically, I think he's the best.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. He hasn't had an amazing record in Europe. I think he had a Europa League final with Juventus. But
I think Chelsea will surprise a few people in the Champions League.
interesting. I have a team that I want everyone to watch in the Champions League called Napoli, because I just think they're just outstanding. I watched them again at the weekend, and they're just. I was trying to watch them and trying to watch NFL at the same time. They're just on a film, and it was my head was really going to fall off. They're just brilliant. Like they're what like sort of Klopp has at times Liverpool have looked like they can do, where they could just go mad forward and they're passing so crisp and they're attacking. It's like hectic. But they're just a better team, a better outfit. They do have a better. They've Koulibaly at the back and Albiol, who's 2 better centre halves.
Albiol is one of those players that I think definitely got away from Real Madrid.
And Callejon's there too. I don't think he can all Real Madrid. Callejon's there too.
Yeah.
2 Rafa signings.
That's right. Dries Mertens also signed by Rafa.
He did, and Pepe Reina. So, yeah, Napoli would if your team isn't in the Champions League, or if your team goes out early, your team's not in it, and last time Liverpool were in it, we went out very early. So you never know. Get on watching Napoli if you get a chance, because you'll really enjoy watching them. They're a joy to watch.
And that's what you want.
You do.
You want a team that's entertaining. When
Yeah.
your team's not it, you want to be able to watch a game and actually get behind a team that are playing football and the way it should be played.
I think they'll be this year's Monaco, and they'll surprise everyone and I think they'll be a semi-finalist. So I think Napoli will be it, and you've gone for we both said PSG.
PSG, Napoli. You think Napoli semis?
I think Napoli are a team that could potentially get to a semi-final.
I think Ernesto Valverde's start has been very good in the
3 out of 3.
La Liga. I'd say their main aim is probably to regain the league. Would you say so?
You don't know with Barcelona. Up there at the minute as well, the city and the area of Catalonia is going through an independence.
That's right.
Movement, and I think there's an election in October. So I don't know. Being European champions again, probably taking it away from Real Madrid, making sure you're the team that stops Real Madrid from getting a treble. And there's just been a goal in the Barcelona game as well here, which are playing Juventus. And as Lionel Messi has scored there, he never scores. So
Who is it?
there's some Argentinian football.
Lionel Messi, who it's a surprise if he doesn't score in a game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to say about Barcelona. No, I think their aim will be to regain the league, but given the poor performance in the Spanish Cup at the beginning of the year against Real Madrid, they have really started well, and he seems to have gelled them together well as a team.
They've lost Neymar, who I think will take over as a Ballon d'Or winner very soon. I think he's wonderful. They brought in Dembele, and see Dembele and Semedo on that side. That pace is daft. We think the likes of Alexis Sanchez, of your own club, Mo Salah, Henrik Mkhitaryan, who's rapido as well, he's a flying machine. We think they're quick. Those 2 boys together on that side for Barcelona is frightening.
That's right. And you can't look. That's what I'm saying. I can't look Barcelona. I think the league, maybe Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. Those 3 teams.
Do you think it'll be a Spanish winner?
At the current point in time, I would find it very difficult to disagree with the fact that there will be a Spanish winner.
I do think it'll be a Spanish winner, and I think it'll be Atletico Madrid.
Diego Simeone, they eventually.
He just went and signed a new deal, which is massive for Atletico, because they were worried that he was going to go, and I think what's happened as well is that Inter Milan got split in and they've started so well. I know he's talked about wanting to go back into Milan, but they're flying. And I just think, I think Atletico I think Athletic will do it this year. I'd love them to do it. I'd love them to do it and maybe possibly beat Real Madrid along the way and get rid of that. But I think Atletico Madrid will be the team this year that'll win it. I think they'll sacrifice going for the league, and I think they'll go.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say against that is I don't know whether they have that really out and out goal scorer that they had. Well, they've got Griezmann.
They have Griezmann up until they have Griezmann for the group stages,
yeah.
And then they're going to have Vitolo, and then they're going to have Diego Costa. I thought now he might be about 3 stone overweight, but they could possibly have Diego Costa coming back.
They'll probably have to play all of their games over in some Brazilian beach.
Yeah,
he doesn't seem to leave there, you know.
No.
That'll be a problem, I suppose.
Aye.
Relocating the Champions League games from your home ground to the
Copacabana,
so that you can accommodate a player that they clearly are going to great lengths to accommodate.
Yeah, they want
him back, yeah. And that it's a sort of return for the knockout stages that could really spark.
That's what I think.
If they get him, I suppose we're speaking hypothetically. If they get him, so yes, I can see that point coming through.
Think a team. I tell you, who I think's going to flop, and I know they're winning tonight. Bayern Munich.
There's something not right there.
Something.
Carlo Ancelotti talking about him going to China at Christmas.
Basically Nagelsmann as well from Hoffenheim has more or less put out a come and get me play. He will be the next. What you're hearing in German media and German social media. He's going to be the next Bayern Munich manager. And it's a case of how long this season, as you were saying, Ancelotti stays.
But doesn't it show you how well Liverpool actually did against Hoffenheim? Bayern Munich went and got beat 2-0.
Comfortably beat.
Comfortably. Liverpool went to beat them there and also beat them at home.
Yeah, which, going back to the start of the show, it just completely confused me with Saturday's results and how we completely fell apart. Of course, Liverpool playing Sevilla tomorrow night, which I've already mentioned twice, and now a third time I'm going to.
But that'll be a great game, and I expect Liverpool to win because Sevilla just aren't as strong as they would have been previously. They
did a good win at the weekend, but it's the best game of the group. When those two are the two best teams, probably on paper in the group, so it's the best game, and it's at Anfield, and I'm in the car.
The atmosphere will be superb.
Yeah, I can't wait. I won't sleep tonight. Probably buzzing for it now, so really looking forward to it.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah, definitely. At Europa League, we're talking about trying to pick a winner of that.
There's only going to be one winner of the Europa League.
Arsenal. That's my team, and I think will win it. Doesn't matter who comes out of the Champions League. I think Arsenal will win the Europa League.
I think it's an opportunity for Wenger to win a European competition.
Imagine, and we're talking about Crystal Palace earlier and having no ambition. And if I was Arsenal, I'd be thinking, right, group stages, we should be okay to rest a couple of players here, and we could embed in and bring in a couple of players that haven't played.
One player that's going to come in, and I advise everyone to watch him. No, not a Iwobi, Reece Nelson, who is setting the under-23 team.
Did he not score an unbelievable free kick recently? Yeah. Was it against Manchester United or was it against?
I think it might have been the game previous. He did score against Manchester United. I just can't remember exactly where that was a free kick, but he has been playing absolutely superbly for the under-23s, and I hope that he gets an opportunity to come in to the Arsenal team. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe Thursday night.
I've seen Arsenal fans talking about him as being the replacement for Oxlade-Chamberlain in that squad.
I'm not just saying this, but he is more in product than Oxlade-Chamberlain already. And he's
so what you're saying is Liverpool are going to buy him then in about 5 or 6 years.
Liverpool are going to buy him in about 5 or 6 years, only if he gets bitten by that, I suppose, British player bug, whereby
we all want to play centre midfield. Is it that bug, or is
the bug that they can't really pass the ball forward and struggle to?
It's a horrible illness.
Yeah, it's a horrible illness that a lot of players seem to take. For example, Theo Walcott, who's gone missing. If anyone has seen Theo Walcott who's watching this video, please forward the details so that Arsenal can actually find him. His wages are still getting into the account, but he hasn't seemed to be turn up to train or anything.
Yes, we're talking about ambition, to go back on that. I think Arsenal should be sitting down and going, get through, as we were saying, the group stage, and bring in some young players or squad players that aren't really playing, getting their games. And then in the new year, when you're still in the tournament, kick on and go and win the thing.
Just go and win it. But Arsenal become experts at cup competitions. Look, nobody expected them to beat Manchester City in the semi-final of the FA Cup last year. Nobody expected them to beat Chelsea in the final. They beat both of those teams, they won the FA Cup. They've done that twice previously also, so 3 times in the last 4 or 5 years they've won the FA Cup. So they've become quite a, I suppose, a successful cup team. That's obviously not ideally what we want, but if it means this year that we win the Europa League, get back into the Champions League via that route, and maybe win one other competition, I'm sure Arsenal fans would be very happy.
Yeah, definitely. Like, there's no reason for it to not be happy. Like, I am champion of the Europa League. I love it. I think it's a brilliant competition. And alright, yes, there's like 3,000 teams in it in the group stages.
The problem is how badly it affects your league performance.
Change the night it's on.
Yeah.
And then see what happens from there.
But I suppose other countries maybe build it in, but I suppose.
Well, Cologne, who you're playing,
Yeah.
like as soon as that draw was made and that you're playing Arsenal, have just completely forgotten about everything else.
Yeah.
And the whole town cannot believe they're getting to play Arsenal Football Club, and they can't wait for it. So it's nice that sort of way.
Well, I can't wait for it either.
Nice, should be a good game. So we're going to finish off with it quickly. We're going to have a little chat on the Premier League matches this week and our predictions. Hit me there with who's playing this week and what the fixtures are.
This week we've got a crazy amount of games on Saturday, but
good.
6-pointer, if we can call it that. I'm sure everyone refers to them
I
as
am
6
on my own on Saturday as my fiance is working, so football for me.
We're going to start Friday night though. Bournemouth and Brighton. Bournemouth are at home and Brighton need a win. Or sorry, Bournemouth need a win.
Yeah.
But Brighton, after the first win of the season,
Yeah.
very
Palmer
good.
Hamid and Gross scoring.
Yeah. And they beat West Brom, who had started excellently, quite comfortably. You know.
Where's it at?
It's at
Bournemouth
it's
on
at
Friday
Bournemouth.
night. I'm going to go for a draw.
I'm going to go with a Bournemouth win.
Ooh.
And I'm going to go with Defoe to score his first goal on his return.
Okay. We have, what is that one? Crystal Palace.
Southampton.
Oh. So Roy Hodgson could be in here. Southampton have only scored 1 goal from play all season, and Crystal Palace haven't scored yet.
That's
So I'm going to go 6-6.
Right, okay. 6-6, fair enough.
I know. I think Palace will get their first win of the season.
And then you start to worry about Pellegrino.
You would. And the only reason I see Palace doing this is the fact that a new manager will be in. And
He'll go back, he'll bring in the likes of Damian Delaney,
Sacco.
Mamadou Sakho. Maybe he'll play that hard defensive mould that he likes to play in, Roy Hodgson, and maybe nick a goal on the break.
and it'll be the whole ground will be all well, it might be because it's Roy Hodgson, but there'll be managers in, there'll be a bit different buzz, and I just think that's what it'll end up being. It's just no real football tactical nights for me in this one or anything, like just the fact that
Just the impact of a new manager.
Yeah.
Don't say that, because then Crystal Palace might be tempted to replace their manager every week.
Well, it'll be
and it
interesting.
guarantees a result. I'm going to go draw on that one actually.
Okay.
Crystal Palace, Southampton. Huddersfield then are at home to Leicester.
Bad result last night for Huddersfield, 2-0 away at West Ham.
Very unlucky.
They were very unlucky, but
the first goal was very, very fortunate for Aubameyang and
Obiang.
and they wish they had Aubameyang.
Yeah, it doesn't
So do I. But I would say that Huddersfield still have a lot going for them. You know, the Schindler at the back, Jorgensen looks quite good as well. So I wouldn't be too concerned with them at the moment, and I expect them to get a result.
I think they'll beat Leicester, and then Craig Shakespeare will be sort of looking behind them, because that'll be our 5th game, is it in? And he'll have won 1 and lost 4, I think. Is it? I think Huddersfield will win that.
Huddersfield, I'm gonna have to agree with you. 2-1.
Then we had Liverpool Burnley. Hopefully Liverpool are off the back of a result on Wednesday night. Coutinho's back in the team. We didn't talk this. I'd play him tomorrow night and start him. We'll have no Mane, unfortunately, because he tried to kick Ederson's head off. I still think, now this is the type of game where Liverpool struggled last year. They should have Salah, and they won't obviously have Mane's pace. I will go with Liverpool to win it, judging on how we did beat Crystal Palace in a game similar to what I think will happen. But I am worried about Chris Wood, and I think Chris Wood will score.
You're only worried because I've talked to him so much.
He's massive.
Yeah,
He's a powerhouse.
Do you think they'll go with Folks and Wood though, away from home?
I don't know. But I think Liverpool will win, but it'll be like a 2-1 or a 3-2.
You know, this is the first time that Liverpool, I suppose, in quite a while have had to play after a big, high intensity home Champions League match.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're playing at Anfield, and that's a big help after a Champions League game. I'm actually going to go with Burnley to nick a draw here. I know they played very badly, and Sean Dyche seemed to admit that to Frank de Boer afterwards. He shook his hand and he said something maybe along those lines, because they were very fortunate. Burnley to nick a draw, Wood to score.
You've gone for Burnley to nick a draw and Wood to score. If that happens, I will hunt you down earthquake.
As long as you win tomorrow night. And you
Oh,
will,
yeah,
you
yeah.
will.
Well, I'm there. I'll have to go every game if we win tomorrow night. Next game, you have
Newcastle Stoke.
Rafa will be back, the beautiful Spanish man,
Yeah.
against Stoke Hosselu, playing against his old team.
And a team that he didn't really get an opportunity to impress for. A team that he will score against.
Do you know who's quite great for Newcastle? Marino?
Yeah, he's quite good. Although he took an absolute dive on Sunday. It was absolutely atrocious, the dive. But very, very good on the ball.
Very
That's
good
what I
on the
noticed
ball.
on
Very
it.
good on the ball.
And somebody to look out for, you
Yeah.
know, at Newcastle maybe going forward to.
I think Newcastle will win this.
I think Newcastle will win it as well, because Stoke are a little bit hot and cold.
Yeah.
I expect Newcastle to win 2-1. And
Oh.
3 wins out of 3 for Newcastle, and their fans will be... This will be lively.
I actually, to go off target here, I actually had a dream last night where Klopp had a shocking couple of months under Liverpool. We fell out of the Champions League. We didn't challenge for a league. We didn't challenge for any cups. Klopp left in the summer, and Rafa came back.
So, how do you feel about that, Liverpool fans?
Is that how you feel? I don't know how I'd feel, because I love Rafa Benitez, so I love Jurgen Klopp, so it'd be weird, but I don't know. What's that one? Watford, Man City. This will be a test for both teams, and it'll be Man City. I think Watford will get a result here at home.
Do you think they're going to win?
No, but they will.
It sounded so positive, and I was really getting excited.
The only reason is because Man City's team going forward is daft. But I think Watford will really, really challenge them, and the Watford will get a draw, but be the much better team, I think.
I fancy Man City just to edge it.
Like they did against Bournemouth.
2-1.
Something sneaky.
Something
Yeah.
similar, you know.
I think, yeah. Well, I'm going to go for a draw, but Watford will be the better team.
Okay, fair enough. Next one then, West Brom, West Ham.
West Brom, West Ham. Well, you don't know, because West Ham managed to win 2-0, West Brom beat 3. That's a really horrible game to try and call it. You would think now West Ham will kick on, and they have a squad that they should be challenging. They should be challenging top 7. They should be challenging Everton.
They should sort of be creeping.
Should
in
be
there.
up there, like.
Yeah, but I would say that West Brom sort of go through these patches of results, and for that reason I'm going to go for a West Ham win. Javier Hernandez to score.
Okay, fair enough. I will go with a West Brom win.
Sorry, yes.
I'll
I
go
said
with
West Ham, didn't it?
You did. Javier Hernandez.
Spurs Swansea. Renato Sanchez to maybe complete a few passes.
He just looked like he was a rabbit in cotton headlights. He wanted to do so much good, but yet it just didn't materialise. He did kick someone in the stones as well.
He did? Yeah, he was very lucky to get away.
He was lucky to get away.
Because there was absolutely no intention to play the ball. He just put the leg up, yeah.
Although he went up in my estimations for doing that. I'd like to see that kind of behaviour.
That's it, but only if he does it against Everton or Manchester United
Oh
players.
yes, yeah, obviously. Does it against the Liverpool Red, then we'll have issues with that.
Do you fancy Spurs to overdo, or
I fancy Spurs another 3-0 nil.
Do you?
At home. Yeah, I think Spurs. Listen, Spurs were brilliant at Goodison Park, as much as Everton were bad. I'll talk about that. Spurs were brilliant, and Spurs they'll get rid of that hoodoo this weekend.
Swansea will win this game.
Says the Arsenal fan. Right, that's interesting. What are you going to go with, like a 2-1?
I'm actually going to go with a 2-0.
They haven't played Lorente yet either, Spurs.
I know, but sure.
It's
Spurs.
It's Spurs. I believe on Sunday we have quite a decent lineup. A Super Sunday for once.
Well, we've got a team that has finished out of the top 4 once in the last 23 years, and against a team that finished 10th 2 seasons ago.
And also won the league last year.
Well, I've just actually brushed over that fact.
Oh, yes, sorry.
So basically what we have is a team that's class, and this class is ever present against a team that sort of comes and goes like a tide, and that team's Chelsea.
He loves to stick the knife in.
Chelsea will be fancying their chances in this game. They've got a very easy game tonight. They win 2-0 and they're only into the second half against Karabag, who are just new to the Champions League. And I'd say that Chelsea will be very disappointed if they don't beat Arsenal. However, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I do believe that if they play to their potential and if they play in a shape that is not completely crazy, with some discipline, then they can get a result.
Arsenal have the players to get a result.
But at the end of the day, you can't just put out Sanchez, Ozil and Lacazette and expect a result.
No.
The players behind that need to do their fair share.
And you can't put Bellerin in left wing back.
No.
When he's right footed, I am right in saying
yes,
he's
he
right
is, indeed, he is. And he wouldn't be a brilliant passer of the ball, believe it or not. And so when you're playing on your opposite side, it makes it even more difficult to control and to play the ball. It seems strange when we're saying that about a professional footballer, but you want to play to your strengths.
Yeah, but he is actually a decent defender.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Chelsea win.
Yeah, I can't argue with that because of Arsenal's performance against.
But I don't think it'll be like it'll be a 2-0 win. But I don't think it'll be. I don't think we're going to have like Arsenal fan TV lose their head or anything.
I think if Arsenal
it'll be a tight 2-0.
If Arsenal lose this game, there's going to be so many complaints because that's 2 wins and 2 wins, 3 defeats in 5 games.
It's not great, but playing Liverpool at Anfield and then he's away on Chelsea. Have a look at that way, like
True, but a draw would be great. So let's just work for the draw, and hopefully Aaron Ramsey will actually track his runners.
Well, that'll be a start.
If you're listening, Aaron,
track your runners.
You know what to do.
The game, I think it's the last game of the weekend, is Everton against Manchester United. Not particularly a game I savour to watch.
No, probably you'd want both teams to lose.
I would love both teams to lose, but that is impossible.
Impossible, and also I think that Manchester United will just have too much for Everton. However, I fancy Everton to score here. So, yeah, I fancy them to score.
I think United have lost Pogba tonight. He went off injured, and Fellaini came on.
But he didn't do much at the weekend anyhow. Quite a bit of criticism.
Yeah, he does seem to get that. Oh, someone nearly just scored there. I think. I think United will win. Like he did. I don't think Everton will score. They've had 1 shot on target in 2 games. True. They've no pace as well. Ronald Koeman has decided to buy a team and with putting no real pace into it.
So I said that, the bottom areas, they brought in Rooney, great, and they brought that gentleman from Hajduk Split. None of those players have burning pace.
No.
So when you're under the caution, you need that out ball that you can play off a big target man, play it into someone with pace. I know it sounds simple, but football is a simple game, when it's played well, and when you have a balanced team, which Everton don't seem to have at this current time, despite an absolutely horrendous run of fixtures.
Oh yeah, it's been horrible for them.
It's terrible.
No, I think United will win. They'll not win loads, I think 1-0, 2-0 or something. I don't think they'll steamroll Everton. Lukaku, he could do it. I think Everton aren't. They just still lacking. I would sort of. I don't mean this as a. I mean, a Liverpool fan has Everton friends. I would be a tiny bit worried about them. They just have looked. The last 2 games, especially, they've looked really, really poor. And it would worry me if I was an Everton fan. So I think they will get beat. They'll not get thumped by Manchester United, but they will get beat.
I think that they will lose the game 2-1, and they'll put Manchester United under a lot of pressure.
Okay, that's fair enough.
To do it. But a victory nonetheless.
Yes, so that's it for this week. We have been paying attention to yourselves, but also paying attention to Champions League and quite enjoy what's been going on beneath. As I said, I'm at the game on Wednesday night. Arsenal play Cologne on Thursday night, and then obviously a Premier League fixture. So hopefully we'll come back next week. We'll have 2 wins to talk about. That'd be nice.
That'd be fantastic.
2 wins each. Thanks for watching. As always, retweet, and subscribe when you see us on Twitter, and get on our YouTube page and subscribe. This is going out in podcast form as it did last week. So you can get us on SoundCloud, which I put it up on. You can get us on iTunes, which it goes on to. I use Podcast Addict for my own podcast. If you've got Android, it's a very good app. Yeah, and any questions or any comments, any feedback, all's welcome.
That's great, yeah.
Catch us on the sports.
Enjoy the show, enjoy the football, and hopefully your team gets a win, unless it's Chelsea.
And remember, there is football on every night this week up until probably Monday.
Just savour it.
Just fantastic.
Yes. See you next week. Bye.